Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about discouragements, disappointments and setbacks. I know that we all go through these things and these things are inevitable whether we like it or not. Struggles are always there, but I want you guys to know that there is always hope. It's important that we kind of come up with ways or like coping mechanisms that will help us to kind of deal with issues when they come up, because sometimes when it gets too much it can get very like overwhelming and you don't know how to actually deal with situations, you know. So yeah, but anyways, getting into it, I want to start off by just quickly telling you guys a little bit of a story about how my 2020 started and how I was so overwhelmed because there was just so many disappointments that I was facing, and I was just a bit like, I don't understand. It's meant to be a new year, you know. Before the year even started, before 2020 even started for me, on Christmas Day, my car started leaking some fluids, and you know, and then I was like, oh, you know, okay, obviously something's not right with the car. So we took it to the mechanics and they said, you know, something's not right with the engine and we probably have to get a new engine or just, you know, get rid of the car and just buy a complete new one. And at this point we obviously didn't have money because, you know, we done all our Christmas shopping, and where was the money at to be spending? Obviously we weren't going to be able to buy a complete new one, so we were like, okay, you know what, for now we're just going to have to save up a little bit, and then after saving up we will look into seeing if we can get another one. We ended up being able to borrow one of our family members' car and drive that for the time being. Anyway, so that's done, that happens, and then we're like, okay, all right, car problems. It looks like this year is starting off with some car issues. It's okay, we'll deal with it. These car issues happen to everyone. It's not that big of a deal. We weren't upset. It wasn't that deep. It was like, okay, yeah, your car's having a problem, you need to fix it. Yeah, okay, whatever. A few weeks later, we go to an engagement party. So I think this was in February. We go to an engagement party. So at the end of that engagement party that night, on our way home, we realized that our tire was popped. The car that I was driving, that I was borrowing, somebody popped the tire, and now we had to work out a way to get home with a popped tire. And it was like 12 o'clock at night, so it was just a hassle to have to call someone to come and fix it and all that. And so Ben decided we'll just leave the car there, and then we'll fix the tire in the morning. We left the car there, and when we went the next morning to put the new wheel in, some random people, whoever it was, had stolen some of the parts of the car. And we were actually lucky that the battery wasn't stolen, because there was like certain pieces on the front of the car and at the sides of the car. The wheels even, like the bolts on the wheel were pretty much like off. I think they were trying to steal the wheel as well. That was a bit like, what can we do? Like, I mean, it's a bit silly. We were a bit upset about that, but what could we do? We couldn't do much about that, could we? So we let it be. Now, like, bear in mind, that's 3 different things, 3 different car issues that I've now had. And at this point, I'm a bit like, okay, like 2020, like, what's going on here? Like, it's literally just starting and things are already going different. Things are already happening weird. Like, what's going on here? You know? Anyways, we let it be. We're like, okay, we're having car problems. It seems like this is the season for car issues. So what we're gonna do is just try to look for solutions, try to look for ways that we can fix it. Like, on a different day, this was on a Sunday, on my way to church. I was driving, and I was in a little bit of a rush, but I was making sure that I obviously like kept to the speed limit and everything. But that morning, I ended up being in a car accident, and so like, honestly, at that point I was a bit like, okay, like, that's doing a lot. Like, I'm actually tired. I'm tired of problems. I'm tired of car issues. How many car issues are we gonna have this year? Like, how many car issues do we need to have this year? I'm tired, bro. Like, I was actually at that point I was starting to get really upset, because it was like one setback after the other, and it was like, how many setbacks do I have to have? Like, another debt that I really didn't need at this time of my life, knowing that I'm trying to save for a new car, and then this issue comes. So that's another one. It's not even finished. That's not even the last of my car issues that I've had in 2020. I'm telling you guys. last thing that pretty much ended up happening was, is this even the last thing? Anyways, we borrowed this car that has really been through a lot. We borrowed this car to one of our friends, and what happened? The tire gets popped again. I don't know how. It was brought back to our house with the tire popped, and at this point we were really getting tired of pop tires, because we were like, that's enough. Like, how many pop tires are we gonna have this year? How many? So then obviously we had to change the wheel. We had to go get another wheel, and luckily Ben had a mechanic friend who was able to give him a wheel, because I think he stores some of his wheels at his shop. But obviously, like, I don't think they checked the wheel properly, because the wheel was already old, because it'd been there for a while. And like, when we changed the tire, I went to work the next morning, and when I went, it was fine, no problems. I drove to work, no issues. Driving back, the car started making weird noises, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm done. Like, I actually don't need car issues right now. At this point, like, I'm actually anxious to even drive on the road. Like, I was actually too anxious. Like, I was scared, because I'm like, oh my God, please God, let this not be any more car problems. I really don't need car problems right now. Like, that's enough. I don't need it anymore. I'm driving, and then the noise gets loud, and I'm like, okay, I think I need to stop. I'm just gonna start going slowly, just in case something happens. Next minute, the wheel pops again, and like, this was on the freeway as well. Like, on my way home, this was on the freeway, and the wheel pops. Like, I was so scared at that point. I was like, okay, like, this is too much. Like, I actually don't know what's going on, and I feel like I'm getting attacked. I feel like what is going on with me? Why are all these things happening to me? Like, I don't understand, you know. So and I'm telling you guys, like, at this point, I'm not even surprised anymore, and I'm not even like upset. I was like, obviously I was scared. I was super scared. So many bad things have been happening to me that I don't even care anymore. Like, so that's pretty much like a bunch of some of the things that happened to me, guys, throughout 2020, pretty much January, February, March, before Corona even, and then next minute Corona sets in. I was actually like, this is too much. This is way too much. Like, I don't need this. I don't need this in my life. But anyways, so guys, basically the reason why I'm saying all this is because of the fact that, like, I learned such a huge lesson throughout that whole time. Because, like I said, like, after when it got to a certain point, like, there was actually just I didn't even care anymore, because there was just so much things happening to me that I was like, okay, you know what, it is what it is. If it's gonna happen, let it happen. Like, I can't even stop it from happening anyways. And that's the thing about, like, disappointments and, like, discouragement, setbacks. You don't know, like, when they're gonna happen, but they happen. Whether you like it or not, they're gonna happen, you know. I had to pretty much develop a coping mechanism, literally, like, a coping mechanism in that time of all those struggles, in that time of all those setbacks. I had to develop, like, a way to cope, because if I didn't, like, things actually got too overwhelming, and I'm like, how is there so many different annoying things happening all at once? Like, this is actually too much. Usually, like, things will happen, yeah, because everyone has problems and everyone has things that happen to them, you know, in life. But it's like, you know, one at a time. I don't need too many all at once. Because of everything that was happening, one thing that I did throughout that time was listen to faith building messages. Because I'm telling you guys, like, if I didn't do that, because I don't know if you guys obviously watch my videos, you know that obviously, like, for me, like, my faith is important, and it's actually what carries me, it's what sustains me, and it's what actually holds me together. And when I went on there to look for those faith building messages, guys, I'm telling you, and it helped me understand sometimes why discouragements and, like, setbacks and disappointments happen, you know. I know that obviously they are painful and they hurt at the time, but a lot of the time these things actually happen to grow us and to develop us into better human beings, you know. And usually there's always a lesson behind these things. When they do happen, there's a lesson behind it. And one thing I realized was from, like, one of the people that I listened to, she said that every time you go through difficult times, it's actually setting you up for a miracle, or it's setting you up for something that is greater, or a breakthrough that is yet to come. So another thing that I had to also do was change the way I thought, like, through listening to these faith building messages, like, and also through just reading my word, reading my Bible. I realized that I had to really change the way I think, because there was a verse that I read in Proverbs chapter 23 verse 7, and it says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And this verse, like, at that time, like, I was really like, everything is really a struggle at the moment, and the only thoughts that I have right now are not positive thoughts, are not thoughts that are like, oh, happy thoughts, oh, things are going to be all right, oh, it's okay, like everything happens for, no, none of, when I was going through all those things, none of those thoughts were there. I had to really push myself, like I had to like reposition my mind. I had to change the way I thought. I had to forcefully make my mind think different, make my mind think like, okay, Harriet, just calm down, just relax, things are going to be okay, you don't need to stress too much, because everything does happen for a reason and things are going to be all right. Like I had to change my mind slowly, and even with that, it was still too hard, because obviously when you're going through hard stuff, it's not easy to start thinking positive. It's not easy to start like thinking, oh, things are alright, things are going to be alright, when things are going down, things look horrible. Like of course you're not going to be thinking positive. Like I had to really think, as a man thinks, so is he. I have to change my thinking. I have to change. I know things are hard right now. It's obvious that a lot of things are a struggle at the moment, but as a man thinks, so is he. So you need to change your thinking. You need to change the way that you decide to look at the situation. Change that, because if you change that, that will help you to deal with it in a much easier way. Because imagine thinking negative the whole time, being just like a worry wart and just stressing and being anxious about it. Like what are you gaining from doing that? You're not going to gain anything, you know. So I had to change the way I thought. I had to change the way I perceived everything. I had to be like, okay, you know what, things are going to get better. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. Things, and I'm telling you, when you start to think like that, things slowly start to change. And even if things don't change at the time, you begin to see that, okay, the problem isn't actually that big anymore. Like you start to see the problem as a bit smaller. I don't know why, but it seems like when you start thinking positive, the problem becomes a little bit smaller and you don't give power to that problem anymore, you know. And there's another verse in Philippians chapter 4 verse 8. I had to remember that as well, and it pretty much says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And I had to remember those verses again. Like my mind has to always be tuned to thinking anything that is excellent, anything that is praiseworthy, anything that is admirable, anything that is good. My mind had to always, I had to remember and tune my mind to think such things, because when I thought like that, things were not as bad. Like things didn't seem as big, or the problem didn't seem as massive as it actually is, you know. And even right now, like literally these problems are still here, but I don't know why. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna deal with it little by little, and at the end of the day, like literally it's not even that big of a deal for me right now. It's just like, okay, that's an issue that I need to fix, and we'll deal with it. We will overcome it. And that's the mentality I have right now, and I feel like having that mentality has really given me a lot of peace and a lot of rest, and I don't have to worry too much or think about it too much, you know. And one last thing that I also did was keep my hope alive, and I'm still keeping my hope alive, because at the moment, like it's kind of like living by like that faith. Like yes, things are great, yes, things are a struggle at the moment, but I know that me stressing and worrying about it and getting all upset about everything happening to me, like whatever thoughts you might be having, like where are those thoughts going to lead me? Why not think, okay, what solutions can you now start putting in place to you know, deal with the issue? Which people can I talk to? What information can I get to make this situation a bit easier for myself? Or like why not actually try to work on it, try to actually start dealing with it, and instead of just being upset and worrying about it. Like don't get me wrong, guys, there are times where of course you're allowed, I feel like when the problem first happens, you're allowed to be upset, like you're allowed to be hurt, because it's not fun. It's not fun. It is painful at the time, but I don't want you guys to dwell too much in it, because when you dwell too much in it, that's where you don't get out of it. You're not going to get out of it, and that problem will overtake you. You don't want that problem to overtake you. You know, you don't want that problem to become your whole world. That's all you think about day and night. You're thinking about that day and night. You're worrying about that, and where's it taking you? You know. So I really want to encourage you guys today, if you guys are going through any setbacks, any discouragements, and just disappointments in general, I want you guys to really, number one, like I was saying before, like really change the way you think. Keep that hope alive, and also listen to like faith building messages, or talk to people that, you know, like talk to your friends about it, people that you can trust, and just like ask for input, like how do you guys usually deal with this issue when you're faced with this, or that kind of thing, because sometimes that really helps. That helps you to kind of like, it calms you down. It helps you know that you're not the only one going through some of the struggles that people do go through, and it helps you know that, you know, if they can overcome it, you will overcome it as well. I know that some problems are very personal. With those kind of issues, don't just be talking to any random person. Like, talk to people that you actually trust about the issues. I just want to emphasize the fact that there is always hope. There is always hope, especially if you're in Christ. There is always hope, because you know that every single trial that we go through is for our discipline. Is for our discipline. Like, there's a verse that talks about how it talks about endure hardships as discipline. Like, God tells us we have to endure hardships as discipline. When we go through hard times, that's how we have to see it, as discipline. It's not anything more than discipline. We have to learn from that, because as long as we are in this world, there's always going to be troubles, and whatever it is that you guys are going through at the moment, know that there is always hope. Know that you can overcome it, you will overcome it, and that yes, it hurts, it does hurt when it happens, but I want you guys to come up with ways to cope with it, kind of thing, like, and try to apply those coping mechanisms as much as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching, if you stayed up to this far. And I'll see you guys in my next video. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, and also comment, give me some suggestions as well of some topics that you guys would like me to talk about. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.